Good afternoon and welcome to Bull Market Stock Show. This is your host Rian Hobson, and we're doing today quite a bumped up stories that we have today, especially the United States CPI number. But there's other news that also comes through at 1:45 South African time. We will have the ECB interest rate decision, and then we have also the job claims number that will be out. That is at 2:30, and then on top of that, also at 2:30 South African time, then we will have the CPI number. Now that number is the big number of today. That is the CPI number of United States. That will be the core CPI, and then also the CPI number. Now, as in the comments that I actually wrote, I will not be surprised if that number come out quite sticky at 5% or something, the CPI number. Maybe core CPI, maybe slightly much higher. And it will definitely create some panic, and that could actually maybe lead to a heavy sell-off in the market. Now, that is what I actually see, and I will state my case, but I think definitely the CPI number of the United States will be a bumper one, and that will create panic in the market, and then we can see actually a sell-off. Now, I will state my case, and there's actually things that I picked up, especially when you're looking at your housing market. The housing market in the United States consists of about 40% of the CPI number in the United States, although the rentals offset the prices of the CPI number, but you need to look at where people are buying houses and also the prices of these houses that goes up, and it's been rocketing, especially with the low interest rates, with the extra money in the economy that they pumped in. And that for me actually shows that we will have a quite a sticky CPI number. There was also some other comments that was made, if you listen to the commentators, where they say people were searching for windows and other materials to complete the houses. And that actually, for me personally, that actually lead for me that the CPI number will actually increase. Also, on the other thing, the job numbers. If you look at the openings of job openings are at the record high. Now, it could be several things. It could be that the job numbers, the openings are high, so that could lead actually people leaving jobs. They can go to other places where they can look for work, and that also translates into the higher wages, because people have now the leverage because the economy is flying, so people can leave the job and go look for another one because the economy is on heat. And that actually leads to wages to increase and job openings to go to record highs. And these are record highs. It's not like a previous high or something. It's at record high. Excuse me. So that is actually where wages go up, which we could see in the non-farmers payrolls number. Wages were high, and that also leads to supply constraints, because obviously someone is leaving, you need to get someone new in. That person needs to understand the company, so that could also lead to supply strains. Now, talking about supply strains, Joe Biden actually put out a task force yesterday to go and look what is the problems with the supply strains issues. I mean, it's simple economics. I mean, if you have problems with supply strains, and obviously that is a cause of an economy that is on heat. So that is the main reason. So he actually now pushed out the task force yesterday to go and look what is the supply strain problems in the United States. It's common sense. I don't understand why he doesn't understand it, but anyway, he put out a task force that was now yesterday. Now, the last part of my story where I say inflation is sticky is actually the Chinese CPI number. Excuse me. Now, China normally, previous years, you would hear China's exporting actually deflation because the products are cheap, commodities are price low. So that's why basically exporting, I would say, deflation. Today, that PPI number, which was in the week, I think it was maybe 2 days ago, it came out at about 9%. The forecast was at 8.5%. It came out at 9%. So the producer price index, it's high. And with that said, they export actually now high inflation. Now, if you reverse back that number, That number comes to 2008, where the inflation was quite high. You must know oil prices were high, gold, iron ore, and all of those things. Even in today's circumstances, it's basically the same. So oil is at 70, iron ore is high, gold prices are high. So that's why China is actually producing goods at a very high rate, and that's why they now exporting inflation. Now, the Chinese government did make some comments because of this high inflation number, not inflation number, but the high producer price. But that is all to do with a high demand that comes from the consumer. So that for me says that we will sit with this inflation period in the United States for quite long, and that can actually disrupt trading, especially now today. Look, if that number come out high, the CPI number and the core CPI, it beats estimates, we will see actually quite a heavy sell-off, especially if you look at the commodities, if you look at the equities like your NASDAQ, if you look at your currencies, it will also push the dollar higher. It will definitely push down the euro against the dollar. Basically, all currencies that trade with the US dollar will actually go down. So the US dollar will trade actually quite higher, and your other currencies against the US dollar will actually sink. Also, the other thing is Bitcoin. Bitcoin for me looks like it's can down because of the inflation, because we all expect that the Federal Reserve needs to do something because of this high inflation. Today's number is very important. I know like the ECB has a conference that time. You have job claims number, but the CPI number, excuse me, the CPI number is actually the important one. And excuse me, and that number we need to look at. And I hope I'm wrong, that it will not push a heavy number up, but please be careful. I would say the best thing for you is to rather to wait for the number to come out, see how the market is reacting, and then actually you can place your trades. Now, as I said, we will see a heavy bear market if that number overshoot, and that will push the equities lower, commodities also lower. So that is it from my side for today. All the best with 2:30 South African time when the inflation number comes out. That number for me is important, not much the ECB interest rates is, unless they throw up a curveball, but the CPI number will be the big one. That's it from my side. See you guys tomorrow at the same time at 1 o'clock. Bye-bye.